Good evening. For 5 years, Bill Flanagan and Robert Daniel lived like a married couple by going to family reunions together, living together, and deeply loving each other. However, because of the law in their home state of California, they were unable to legally wed. Despite this obstacle, they did everything they could to achieve the same legal status as heterosexual couples. They applied for domestic partnership, they gave each other durable power of attorney, and they pooled their money. They considered themselves married. One day, on a trip to Washington, D.C., Robert had a health emergency. He was rushed to the hospital and into the intensive care unit. After following the ambulance all the way there, Bill immediately asked to talk to Robert's doctors to see what he and his partner would be up against. The hospital told him that he couldn't see Robert or talk to the doctors. The reason they gave was that Bill wasn't part of Robert's family. Even with legal documentation, which they always carried with them in case of emergency, the hospital didn't change its stance. Bill was not allowed to talk to the physicians about Robert's condition or consult with them at all. For the entire night, Robert was kept in the dark as he waited alone. Until Robert's sister and mother arrived the next morning, Bill was not even able to see Robert. By that time, Robert was unconscious, only alive because he was connected to a breathing tube, something he had specifically told Bill he did not want to happen. Robert died a few days later. He never woke up. Even though Bill and Robert had been together for 5 years and had proof to back it up, their basic rights were denied. Because of this injustice, Bill was unable to spend the last few hours of Robert's conscious life with him. I believe that the legalization of gay marriage should be a concern for all people in our society. If Bill and Robert had been able to legally wed, this horrible story would have never happened. However, legal marriage is unattainable for most same-sex couples in the United States. The discrimination that gay couples are subject to every day is completely unethical and morally wrong. As intelligent, compassionate Christians who care about the marginalized around us, we should recognize this as a social justice issue. As a gay man, this is a topic that I'm passionate about. When I find that special someone to settle down with, I want to be able to spend the rest of my life with him without worrying about whether or not there'll be any barriers keeping us apart. Our country is one that values freedom and diversity, and over the past 2 centuries, we have refined what it means to be a nation of equal citizens. Our understanding of civil rights and social justice issues has evolved. It is now time for the United States to legitimize the relationships of same-sex couples. Homosexuality is not a choice or something that in any way corrupts the society around it. Gay and lesbian people loving each other in a committed relationship does not threaten the stability of heterosexual marriage. While Bill and Robert's story illuminates some of the legal problems that gay couples face, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. In 2004, the U.S. General Accounting Office released a report saying that there are well over 1,000 individual rights and benefits which homosexual couples receive, rights that heterosexual couples. There are well over 1,000 individual rights and benefits which homosexual couples are denied, rights that heterosexual couples receive, including tax breaks, Social Security benefits, and hospital visitation rights. And this is only accounting for legal benefits, for federal benefits, and doesn't factor in the countless local and state laws which regulate everything from medical benefits to adoption guidelines. I think that a lot of homophobia is based on a lack of knowledge and understanding about the subject, which can lead to confusion about the issues surrounding gay marriage. In fact, there are a lot of misconceptions about homosexuality in general. First of all, it's important to recognize that homosexuality is not a choice. I can tell you from personal experience, I didn't wake up one day and say to myself, hey, I think I'll be gay. The reality is, I'm just attracted to the same gender as myself, not because I chose it, but that's because of who I am. Particularly in the past few decades, scientists have looked closely at past understandings of homosexuality and have come out saying that homosexuality is not caused by distant parents or an abusive childhood. There is scientific agreement that a combination of both environmental and biological factors influence sexual orientation. A study published in Science magazine in 1991 found that a part of the brain that controls sexual activity is different between gay and straight men. It was one of the first big physical differences discovered, and it reinforced the fact that there are actual biological factors that dictate sexual orientation. Establishing that gay is natural is important. While there are different studies and statistics regarding the number of homosexual U.S. citizens, one study by the Human Rights Campaign approximated the number at about 5% of the population, or 10,450,000 individuals. Not having the right to legally marry is a problem that each one of these people has to face. This moral issue needs to be addressed. I believe that a key step towards the equalization of the equality is the legalization of unions for same-sex couples. There needs to be a federal mandate that allows gays to marry anywhere in the United States. Right now, Massachusetts is the only state out of 50 that legalizes same-sex marriage. Connecticut, New Jersey, and Vermont all have a form of legal recognition called civil unions. However, civil unions are not recognized by the federal government, so they don't receive any of the federal benefits, like tax breaks that married couples receive. What would a society look like with same-sex marriages? Honestly, I don't believe that it would make that great of a difference for most of the people in this room. However, for us, the gays and lesbians in America, it would change everything. In scholar Peggy McIntosh's influential paper, White Privilege and Male Privilege, she creates a list of privileges that she, as a heterosexual, doesn't have to worry about being withheld. Using that paradigm to think about what my life would be like if I enjoyed the same privileges as heterosexuals, I imagine the following. With the legalization of gay marriage, I would be able to formally and legally honor my commitment to my future partner. I will be able to travel with him without fear of being discriminated against by airlines or hotels. I will be able to move into a neighborhood without questioning if my family will be safe or accepted. My future children will not be persecuted or have to answer questions simply because they have two dads. The legalization of gay marriage would start us on a path of change. It would not ruin American society, as some claim. It would just make 5% of the population a little bit happier. Today, homosexuals can't get legally married, which causes emotional, legal, and economic stress. It's important to recognize this unethical inequality. People's rights are being denied simply because they were born with a different sexual orientation. Most of the people in this room are Christian and Mennonite. The Mennonite Church has made it its mission to mirror the life of Jesus by working with the marginalized and the weak, the outcasts of society. Looking at Scripture, the texts that people often cite regarding homosexuality are ambiguous at best. None of the Scriptures address the topic of sexual orientation as we understand it today, or homosexuals living in a committed, loving relationship. If we look at how Jesus lived his life, it's clear to me that he would have extended his outreach to homosexuals. I believe that if he were here today, Jesus would be a champion for homosexuals, just like he was a champion for women, for the poor, for the weak, and for the unloved. We all have a moral responsibility to help change this situation, and everyone needs to contribute to change the tides. You can talk to your local and state representatives. You can talk with your family and friends, but do more than that. Look at things online. Get involved. Look at what parents, family, and friends of lesbians and gays is doing. Even here in Goshen, there are things going on. Get involved with advocates on campus by contacting me, Brooke Blau, or Paula Dirks. There are networks of local activists to support and join. The Brethren Mennonite Council for Gays and Lesbians has a chapter right here in Goshen. Don't just let bias and prejudice dictate what you think. There needs to be change not only from individuals, but from the government and the church. Take stock of your own beliefs, as well as your privileges. Don't take your rights for granted. As compassionate, socially aware Christians, we can make a difference in the lives around us. We can take a lead on this issue and change how society addresses homosexuals in our culture. Religious, political, and social groups have all weighed in on this issue, but it's time to move beyond that. These are real humans, not just issues. I experience biases against me every day. For Bill and Robert, this bias was a terrible injustice. We are not just a theoretical problem that can be shoved under the carpet. We are alive, and our rights are being denied. Thank you.